Sometime around 1893 in the state of Vermont, there was a woman who was known for her work creating porcelain dolls. Her name was Mary Elizabeth Todd Lincoln. She didn't have any children of her own, so she poured all of her energy into making these dolls, and people say that she made some of the most beautiful porcelain dolls in the entire world. One day, something came to life and began drinking her blood while she slept. So let's talk about this and dive deeper. This is going to be dark. Before we jump into this story, I just want to say that there are two things that always help support the channel. Those would be likes and comments. If you take a second out of your day to like this video and leave a comment down below, it really does help to support the channel. So thank you very much. And with that said, let's begin. The year is 1893 and the location is Vermont. Now, many years ago in this time period, before you could just go to the store and buy a doll, people had to have them custom made by artisans. And because of this, a lot of these dolls became family heirlooms. They were also incredibly expensive and sometimes were thought to bring good luck. There was also a belief back then that if you put a dead person's soul inside of a porcelain doll, that doll could live forever. Now, I don't know if that was true or not, but I do know that there was a doll maker in Vermont who was willing to try anything to make the perfect doll. Her name was Mary Elizabeth Todd Lincoln, and she was known for creating some of the best porcelain dolls in the world. Some of her dolls sold for upwards of $1,200, which in today's money would be well over $37,000. There was something strange about Mary though. She never married and she never had any kids. Many people said that she spent all of her time and energy making these dolls. But there was more to her than just a doll maker. Mary was a bit of a recluse, and she lived in an old Victorian mansion on the edge of town. The locals never really knew what went on inside that house, but they did notice that she kept to herself and she rarely ever came outside. For years, Mary lived a normal life and she continued making dolls. But one night, everything changed. Mary woke up in the middle of the night and felt something strange on her neck. At first, she thought maybe she had been bitten by a mosquito, or maybe a spider had crawled across her skin. But when she turned on the light, she saw that it wasn't an insect bite. Instead, there were puncture marks that looked like teeth. Of course, Mary was scared, but she tried to convince herself that she had just been bitten by a mosquito. So she got up, walked over to the window, and opened it to catch some fresh air. Maybe it was the lack of oxygen in the room, or maybe it was something else. But Mary started to feel a little dizzy, and she slowly made her way back to bed. When she woke up the next morning, the pain in her neck was gone, and the bite marks had disappeared. Mary assumed that she had imagined the whole thing, and after a couple of days, she forgot about it. But this didn't last long. One night, Mary woke up again, and as she turned on the lamp, she saw the same bite marks on her neck. Once again, Mary got up and walked over to the window, but this time she didn't forget about it. Instead, she sat down and watched what happened. About an hour later, the bite marks came back. At first, they were faint, but then they started to get bigger. Then, right in front of Mary's eyes, the skin around the bite started to turn black and purple. But that wasn't the only thing that Mary noticed. Instead of the wound getting better, it started to squirm. It looked like there was something underneath the skin, and it seemed to be moving around. As the minutes went by, the wound got bigger and bigger, and then suddenly, the skin ripped apart. With that, a dark mass shot out of the hole in Mary's neck. She screamed in horror as it landed on her bed. It looked like a chunk of flesh, but that was just the beginning. As Mary watched in horror, the mass grew. First it grew in size, then arms and legs sprouted out of it, and finally, a face formed. It had no eyes, but it did have a mouth. And then it started to speak. It said, "You are mine now." And with that, the creature jumped off the bed and onto Mary's face. It clawed at her eyes and dug its teeth into her skin, and all Mary could do was scream. As the creature ripped apart Mary's face, it explained what was happening. It said that it had been trapped inside of her body, but now it was free. It also said that it had been waiting for this moment for a long time. While Mary struggled to breathe, the creature started to drink her blood. She could feel her life force draining away, and she knew that she was going to die. Before her eyes getting closed forever, the demon introduced itself as Lucy, who lives on drinking blood. With that, Lucy finished drinking Mary's blood, and then her heart stopped beating. Lucy jumped off of Mary's corpse and stared at it for a second. Before it ran away, Lucy picked up one of Mary's porcelain dolls and took a bite out of it. The doll was covered in blood in less than a minute, and then Lucy disappeared. When the sun rose the next morning, a neighbor saw that the window was open and called the police. They entered the house and found Mary lying on the floor. Her face had been torn apart, and there was a porcelain doll covered in blood next to her. The police never figured out what actually happened with her and what had attacked Mary. Some people said that Mary's dolls were cursed, but others believed that there was something more to the story. No one knows exactly what happened that night, but one thing is for sure: whatever it was evil. After hearing this story, let me know what you feel like in the comments below. And while you're at it, hit that like button and subscribe. There are new videos posted every week, so make sure you come back soon. I'll see you next time.